spoken word artist. Stage name is Tone after like not being able to decide what a stage name, what stage name should I, like what alias should I go by. So I just shortened it up. You can just call me Tone. Been writing since the fourth grade, and I enjoy every part of being a part of this spoken word community here in Grand Rapids. Honestly, AJT Dog. Only because it was like my rap name in like third grade, fourth grade, around there. I was like going by AJT Dog, and I was like making little hats. So that would have been my stage name actually, because it's all interchangeable. It's all interchangeable. I think in order to begin to like write a rap, you must be keen to the sense of poetry, and that's something that I've always been, pretty fluid at. I hate to get like it's like super duper deep on you, but I grew up without a father in the house. So a lot of the people that I was like influenced by were like on TV and what I could like actually see for myself. So it was like, civil rights leaders, athletes, artists, Muhammad Ali, Allen Iverson, people like that were like people who are influenced me to be who I am, as far as like culturally or image-wise. It depends on what you're utilizing this gift for, because there's so many different poets here, and we're kind of moved by different things. So some of us have used our voices to become activists, or use our voice or use our gifts to give back to change these lawmakers' decisions. You know what I'm saying? So that's like where I like to take it for the most part. Like spoken word and what this can be used for. Like I was in a student alliance group, NGRCC, called ABO, and it's an all-male African-American group, where we you're gonna need some help on any kind of college campus that you're on for African American, and this was the study group for it. Like every Friday we did workshops about like emotional intelligence or civil rights or human rights. We did college tours, and we did a lot of good things. And I was already doing a lot of things on campus with the Black Student Union. Just trying to do some spoken word, just trying to network, just trying to get the college tone. You know what I'm saying? Because like I never really saw myself going to college. But when I did, I knew exactly where to go, what student alliances to go, who to network with. What year is this? 2015. I got wind that she was coming in town, and I got in touch with some of the people who are in our ABO group. I'm like, yo, I have to do a poem. I already have it written. It was already written. I think it was written like a couple years before already. And I'm like, I think I'm locked and loaded. I'm ready to like, turn the atmosphere up a little bit. And I asked the day before, bro, which is kind of crazy. I asked the day before if she was supposed to come. And they said, yeah, they screened me. They wanted to know what poem I was going to do beforehand, and they heard it. They was like, wow, yeah, we're going to make sure you go. And I didn't expect to go right before her, but like the way it played out, I went right before. And it was just such a magical moment, because there were so many people, and I can only see like my mom and obviously Sabrina Fulton, who was sitting front stage. And that was my first time my mom actually seen me in that light as well too. So I will always remember that day as like something significant to me and something significant to Grand Rapids, because we don't have a lot of people coming to make this the summit of their activism. So when she actually came during those times where everything was going down, it was a beautiful, beautiful moment for not only GRCC, but for Grand Rapids and spoken word as well. So there were shots heard all around the world. That must have been Emmett Till waving to the girls, not talking about that Minuteman out in Concord, more like the Metal Peace that starts world wars or Million Man marches or neighborhood riots or a silent protest that we ain't even study for. If you talk, you get a zero. Don't try to be a hero. Bidding for that villain is way more appealing. What's better than being a victim of a killing? He barely said a sentence. All he did was whistle, prepared for that lynching. It's like all this hospitality has turned into hostility. We have to hold it in to the best of our ability. Can't we wave to the girls without losing our identity? Identify the real enemy. Run home and Matilda to your best your agility. Run home everybody to your best your ability. Yeah, something like that. Okay, if you've ever been a poet, you know about cities like Chicago. You know how they get down. You know how they get down in Detroit. You curated a show in Detroit, and we was going out there every Sunday. So we get the vibe. But Grand Rapids just has its own little thing where we need to be heard too, and we need to represent for spoken word as well. So I think that's me because everywhere I go, I just can't shake the reputation of being a spoken word artist. So it's almost like I'm a walking book. I'm easily recognizable from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Got my start on this project in fourth grade, Shel Silverstein. I will never forget the poem. I actually forgot the poem, but it's it's so crazy. Like, it was like a 6-line poem. And who knew, like, when I was 9, 10 years old, that 6-line poem would want to drive me to use this, to actually move mountains, you know what I'm saying? And all I can say is I'm just blessed for even having a sound mind to comprehend that, A lot of people don't, like, take it that far, or dig that deep within themselves to come up with the content or the art that's beneficial for the world to see. Because I don't necessarily write from my own experience. I'm usually writing off of a story that I've heard or what I've truly witnessed, for myself. How many microphones? Easily over 1,000. Easily. Stages. I mean, cause like I take pride. I think the T is kicking in, but like I take pride in that. Like, have y'all seen me like set up a microphone stand? It's like I'm in a cockpit and we about to take flight. Whoever's in the crowd, like we about to take a journey to like whatever's on my mind. That's like you're in my world and y'all living in it, and I'm about to give you like a way to express yourselves too. So what I do, it also like it transcends to other people who want to do it too, and I think that's where the reward is: seeing other people who want to do it but don't quite understand what it takes to actually get up there. So I'm approachable in every way. This story is gonna trip you out. I was in a story. I was in this place called Idlewild. It's like Black Eden. We don't even gotta go too far. It's a cool, unique place. My grandma has always had property up there since the '60s, '70s. So I've always been up there. So they do this music festival, and they had some relatives of Langston Hughes showing up to the festival too, and they asked, could I do some poetry for them? And I'm like, yes, Langston. She's like, of course. Like, that's a no-brainer. Like, I can't wait. So I'm performing in front of like a great niece of Langston Hughes. She was pretty old, but like she was like, it was so cool seeing like this type of history. Like, I'm performing in front of like, I feel like I'm performing in front of Langston almost. But apparently the style of spoken word has changed since Langston Hughes did it to when I'm doing it. Because easily, if you hear a lot of my poems, you can kind of like draw that correlation between Langston Hughes or shoot, even Nick Giovanni almost. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that I'm actually there and they didn't like it. I don't know what it was. Like I said, the styles like transcends over the years. And I'm sitting here like in baggy clothes. Like, you'll never know I'm a poet by the uniform that I'm wearing or just off like the first glimpse, but that's my best kept secret. So when I rock the stage, when I rock the crowd, I sense the bitterness from the Hughes family. So it was kind of embarrassing, and like I didn't come up here, to get like patronized. But she said these everlasting words because I was sagging a little bit. I forgot my belt. I didn't even mean to sag. I just forgot my belt. And she said, "And you call yourself a Langston Hughes? You need to pull up your pants." And it's like, dang. So she didn't hear nothing I said for like the 45 minutes I was up there. That's crazy. Like, wow. Everybody else feels sometimes. But you know what? It's okay. It's cool because I'm still like blessed to have that opportunity to still go out and do it. I just thought it was funny. I laughed about it on the way home. Like, wow, the Hughes family doesn't like me. It's crazy. That's all right. Whoever the universe sends, they make sure that it's very truly, truly intentional. I met, you guys are gonna interview this guy named Azizi later. I met Azizi when I was like 12 in this mentoring program. And I wasn't a fan of his poetry because I had a sister who was in a mentoring program who was a fan of his poetry. So I was like, yo, he's way too old. Like I was hating, like, yo, like I can write 10 times better than that. So he was my motivation to becoming an accomplished, more serious writer because I was just writing mostly chicken scratch junk. Hey girl, I love you. Do you love me too? Boo boo. P.S. Roses are red. But when I heard Z's style, I was just like, maybe he ain't too half bad. The more we actually hung out because sooner than later he was actually he actually became my mentor, and then that's when we actually got used to each other. I'm like, you know what, this is actually a really soulful dude. Like this dude is like, he knows what he's doing. Like who am I to like, this is a beautiful gift, And then fast forward when I turned 18, old enough to finally perform on my first stage, he gives me like a great soulful introduction, even though it was my first time. So it's like he was like almost waiting on the moment for me to take it seriously because the stage was already set for me. So whatever you wanted to do. Anybody who's ever been to the hookah lounge knows that there's like during those times, 2009, 2008, 2009, 2010, fire times. Like, holy crap. We had Jude, we had Vincent, we had Duke Green, quote unquote soul, but Mitch Burns, Grin, a lot of these cool cats, and I'm just like, I just want to feel like connected to something because I wasn't the most athletic person, growing up, so I wasn't on a basketball team or no chess team, no chess club or anything like that. Poetry was literally all I had. And during those adolescent years, I didn't know too many people who were actually doing it. So coming to the hookah lounge and seeing people like y'all, like mine, sharp pens, oh man, I'm in heaven. So like the first week was like smooth. Yo, I rocked it. Second week, like within those 7 days, because we did a weekly show, I'm sitting here like, yo, what can I do to be even more, aesthetic? Like how can I just like truly take over this show? Like, you know what I'm saying? How can I like let people notice me? Because there was some serious talent. And I wrote a poem about the oral history of oral. And yes, the oral history of oral sex, basically. And Z gives me this powerful introduction because it was my second week. He's like, yo, he's always speaking from the soul. It's my little brother. Yo, get your ear up to him. And here I am talking about like a female's like body parts, and everybody's just looking at me like, that's not the dude from last week, or that's not the soulful dude that you're speaking of. You know what I'm saying? What you live and you learn when you're trying to be like vulgar but yet inspiring at the same time. So like, like my first couple months performing, we're a little rocky because I didn't know the content that I wanted to bring to the table. So it wasn't until the tragedy of like Trayvon dying that I started like rewriting all my content. Like I can't keep writing about myself. There's real life issues going on like outside, in the United States that somebody needs to document, and I need to be a narrator of that. There's people on my street that are, being oppressed. Gentrification's coming on, and I need to see it through that their story is being told, because once they're off these streets, or once they're in prison, or once they're God forbid, dead, the story no longer, goes on unless somebody is there to continue where they left off. And I can say that's kind of been a blessing and a curse to know so much when it comes to that. It's like going to church. It's like going to hear a message and you're getting and something is pouring into your soul, and it's like it's so powerful because you don't know what exactly you don't know that person's journey when they're on stage and they're performing. So when you're sitting here listening, you can actually relate, and it's actually inspiring you to actually get up and change something about yourself. Like I was hearing poetry like that. Like I need to make some immediate changes with my life, all because I heard Foster or all because I heard a fable. You know what I'm saying? And I think like poetry kept me off the streets. Like that's how powerful it is. You know what I'm saying? It gave me purpose. It gave me meaning. It gave everyone around me something to look forward to whenever they see me wake up, because they know I'm gonna bring. They know I'm gonna bring a show. They know I'm gonna talk my piece, man. So. If you ask me, man, poetry is the most powerful energy in the world, man. I light up when I'm in a realm of like spoken word or a show. Even if I'm reading it, if poem, like I'm quick to want to read a poem. Like I'm a nerd. I'm a nerd at the end of the day. So like, all I have to do is like sit down, read poetry, listen to poetry. I can do that all day, because it's like I said, it's like hearing a sermon. It's like, okay, when you go to church and you keep hearing like the pastor every week, week in, week out, there comes a time where you no longer should go for those teachings. Well, obviously, like you don't, obviously, you're never like unteachable, but there comes a time where you have to practice everything that you're learning from the church. Otherwise, you're just going there every week. But if you're not ready to change your life, around, then you shouldn't take it so seriously. But poetry does that for me. You know what I'm saying? It literally gets me up and I'm ready to start practicing what I preach, because there comes a time where one sermon should be the last sermon that you hear before you're actually ready to like dive off and listen to, either whoever you pray to. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? but I pray to God, and he's kept the pen in my hands for a very long time, y'all. I feel like it's healthy competition. It's not like the rap. It's not like the rap crowd here in GR, where it's like you put out a song while I put out a song. Oh, it's beef. No, if you put out a poem video and I put out a poem video, it's like we all win. It's like, what, you did that? You know what I'm saying? That's how powerful the spoken word community is, because we're already so close knit. When you do a big project like the 49507 project, and you realize there's some spoken word artists behind all of this, you tend to think like, yo, like we're outdoing each other, but in a positive way. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, y'all are taking it to like one step. Kid Can't had my poem on a billboard last year, and I'm like, yo, we are reaching new heights. Like, holy crap! Like, where do we get the money for this? So yeah, that's how powerful it is, man. Like, we're some pretty intentional dudes, and when it comes to like that civil activism work that we do in the community, we know exactly what like the community needs because we served in it. And it's not like we're coming from Sault Ste. Marie to come down here to Grand Rapids to kick some poetry to you guys. We actually like lived here our entire lives. Muskegon, Kalamazoo, you know what I'm saying? All of that plays a role in how beautiful spoken word here is. Like, as far as like its strength here. I wanted to perform at Buzzcats so bad, but Busboys, Buzzcats, DJ Buzzcat. Yeah, Busboys. I wanted to perform at Busboys, but they weren't doing any poetry that weekend we were there. What was the name of this venue? Lord forgive me. It was I don't know. It was so fun because they didn't know what to expect. You know what I'm saying? Like DC was fun, but like like hearing those cats, they were cool, but it's like I can't wait to get up there and give y'all me. And like I got a really good reception from them, man. And it's like they was like, come back anytime, man. I didn't know y'all got down like that in Grand Rapids, because first thing they want to do is like incorporate Grand Rapids with Detroit. And they don't know that there's a lot of like African American poets who can really bring it and can do the same thing any other poets from these major American cities can do, you know. But DC was one of the funnest stages. Founders here in Grand Rapids was one of my, despite all the things that go on, you know, in there. Founders was actually one of my favorite stages. Western as well. Because they show love in Kalamazoo. And obviously my stage too, in the East Town Hookah Lounge. I feel like the king there. So yeah, it's my home stage. So like it's like LeBron performing. You know what I'm saying? Like yeah, it's me. Shoot, you. Just for starters, like Foster's the man. You know what I'm saying? Azizi, obviously Azizi, man, because when he was hosting at the Hookah Lounge before he moved to Detroit, he gave the show to me. So
what that was
like, holy crap, bro! Like seriously, you want me to run a show? Like I was still, I was still trying to figure like out my whole love life. I was trying to figure out a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have like nobody would know this thing. Nobody would know this. But when you're on stage, you're like on a pedestal all of a sudden. But I was taking buses to my show while most people were pulling up in nice cars, and I was making a commitment every Wednesday. It didn't matter what the temperature was. It didn't matter who was outside. It didn't matter what was going on. I had one objective in mind, and that's getting to the East Town Hookah Lounge by 9 o'clock every single Wednesday. And I don't think I missed a Wednesday unless it was like some crazy weather predicament or the bar night before Thanksgiving. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how dedicated I was to the craft, and that's how dedicated I was to the show, because once he gave me the show, it was no longer about me. It was no longer about me getting up from the couch or hearing your name being called and just coming up to the stage and just doing a poem, you know, to hopefully appeal to the crowd. No, I have a responsibility as a host to set the tone for the whole night. And I will never, I can never thank him enough for that, because during the time I was really unappreciative of it, because I wanted to do normal things like go to the movies, go hang out with other friends, go to basketball games, go, you know what I'm saying? But I couldn't, because those Wednesdays nights were tied up, you know what I'm saying? So there was a lot of other things that I wanted to do, but come on now. What else could you possibly be doing? You know? The show at Dr. Grin's the message. Because me and my boy Lamar, my brother, you know, I had him co-hosting with me for a while. I had a few co-hosts with the East Town Hookah Lounge, but like Lamar was my brother, somebody I could truly lean on to help balance me out, because he had such a practical way of reaching people. So like those Dr. Grin days, he was right next to me during those days, you know what I'm saying? And we was watching y'all, because y'all were like, y'all were enterprising on shows while we were just coming to perform. So it was like neat seeing like the dynamics of everything there, because it was like the Hookah Lounge and then this big stage at Dr. Grin's, and it was just like, all right, we can actually do this, bro. Like, more opportunities are opening up, more stages are opening up for spoken word. We can actually take this seriously. And like, what happened if you don't get the show at Dr. Grin's? You know what I'm saying? What happened if we don't get the Stellas? You know what I'm saying? Where would spoken word be? You know, I think that's something that we got to stop and ask ourselves. If we don't build these relationships with the poets, if we don't take the time out to check on each other, you know, where would spoken word be, you know? Like mine, sharp pens. Like, you guys believe in what I believe in. I mean, to a degree. I mean, we come in with the same philosophies. We're kind to each other, but these sharp pens, what we're able what we're able to engage, what we're able to process through our daily living, and how we're able to jot it down on a piece of paper, how we're able to articulate our story, or how we're able to reach out to some people who want to do the same thing, but just aren't brave enough to do it. You know what I'm saying? And you guys work with the youth a lot, and that's something that's so well needed here in Grand Rapids, that we have to keep cultivating the talent here, because it's only getting younger and younger and younger, and we're only getting older. You know what I'm saying? So it's only right that we have like a younger generation to actually pour into. Never would I thought that I'd see spoken word take those like leaps and bounds, because it's coming from those people that I respect, because they have the community's best intentions, you know, in their minds and hearts. So. And every poem I've ever heard from like you, Steven, Mitch, Z, Fable, Gleason, KFG, you know, Greg Bliss, I would never say was like horrible or trash. You know what I'm saying? That's what I mean by like sharp pens. It may not be what everybody can relate to, but you guys are speaking from a place of and it's kind of hard to explain, you know what I'm saying? Like it's like you guys are speaking from a wholesome place. So how can you hate it? And when people hear me, people are like, I can't do it, Tone. I can't do it. You just seem to have a way. I don't want to be the measurement for good poetry, though. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So you know what I'm saying? Because there are some poets that'll blow me out of the water. So if I'm the measurement for good poetry, that means that you've already put yourself like beneath where you ought to be, because you have an interest in it. You know what I'm saying? So I approach this gift with like extreme humility. I don't like to call myself talented at all. You know what I'm saying? I'm just
you claim it, man. You know.
I know, but like I try to stay modest about it. You know what I'm saying? I try to, you know, because there's so many people who want to see it, who want to do it. You know what I'm honest, like the amount of people in my inbox who want to like, yo, teach me how to write poetry. You're just like, I don't know how to teach you that, fam. Like, I barely paid attention during the lessons, you know what I'm saying? I just started rhyming words together, you know what I'm saying? You know. Poet like Poe. I think he's the best example of what I'm getting ready to say. I didn't know that, you know, it's just his writing style that it was just so relatable, and I didn't think that he had it in him to be so emotionally intelligent when it came to like love or expressing himself. I was going through a heartbreak during one of the shows at The Message, and he's up on mic doing one of his like heartbreak poems, and I'm like, yo, who is this? Who is that? You know what I'm saying? Like this, he's like literally saying word for word what I was like going through, you know what I'm saying? And like you'll find that very, very common with people who take an interest with spoken word, you know what I'm saying? There was a time I was in Grand Valley State University doing a feature for Cafe Mahogany, and I was their feature, bro. I was their feature. Everybody came dressed to impress. They had on suits, and I was just like, why didn't they tell me that there was some type of dress code? I'm looking all out of place. Nobody knew I was the feature. Nobody knew what was going on until they called my name, and everybody was just looking like, what in the world is he gonna do? Killed it. He just absolutely killed it, and it's just like, I know they didn't expect that from me. You know what I'm saying? And that's when I like to, especially when you're performing in front of a new crowd, you always never, like, you want to amaze everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what makes the spoken word community here different. We have so many different dynamics and so many different, what would you call it? Like, I don't, excuse me, you know, if I stand to be corrected, but like,
sexual spectrums.
Yeah, so many sexual spectrums of it. Like, you know, we have like, man, what was like on every end of the spectrum you can possibly imagine. We even had there was a kid up in, at the Junker Retort. He was in a wheelchair doing poetry. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is like how broad spoken word truly actually is, where you go to Chicago, you're gonna kind of face that stereotype of running into a person like Common all the time, or running into a person like the Last Poets. Like, nobody. That's such a horrible way to perceive spoken word, when actually, like, it's beautiful and anybody can do it. So I would never just like say like, hey, you're not black enough to do this poem, or you're not white enough to do this poem. You're not suicidal enough to do this poem. Each of these people have their own stories and their own backgrounds, and it's so beautiful to see in one venue most of the time too. It's so beautiful to see. It's because so many people can be egotistic about it. So it's like hearing other people, like, how does other people poetry help me? Basically, like I kind of stated what Mitch did. Like, it's like that whether you relate to the poet that's up there, there's going to be somebody in this lineup of poets that you're going to relate to, that you're going to be drawn to, and more than likely it's somebody who's been through the same thing as you, or if you're like me, you're just coming to hear some good poetry. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like Greg Bliss. You know what I'm saying? The complete opposite of what we're accustomed to hearing to, but it's so dope to see because it's like he's being his genuine self on a microphone. You know what I'm saying? It's just like these are like he inspires me. He inspires me a lot. I didn't bring his name up in like the people who inspired me, but when we were doing the mentally distilled poetry slam, I was introduced to Greg then, so I had no idea like how deep in the trenches he was with spoken word. So I'm riding with him in a car to the distillery, and we're on the highway, and I'm just trying to pick his brain. Same thing we're doing right here, right now. Just interviewing. So, how'd you get started? What's this? He's like, kid, driving with one hand on the highway. I swear to God. He's like, kid. You're asking me too many questions, man. You need to clear your mind. I'm like, all right. I'm trying to pick your brain, but all right. Cool, down to earth people. And a lot of the poets here are completely down to earth and approachable is the message that I'm trying to relay. We're not like shrinks or anything, you know what I mean? Even though we almost certified, we almost there, you know what I'm saying? We can cure the sick almost, but like in a way we do. We just don't have the paperwork for it, and we have a lot of responsibility on our shoulders when it comes to that. So the fact that we're taking it above and beyond just hearing poets at an open mic, and we're taking it to seeing your activists on murals or workshops about what we did a couple months ago with COVID. You know what I'm saying? These are things that the community need to know. Had the diatribe been around while I was coming up, like, I mean, yeah, you like boots to the ground like it is now. Oh man, like imagine like the vibes that would have like you know what I'm saying? But everything happens on its own time and on its own accord. So there was times where I wanted to be regular Foster, because like I wanted to do what everybody else did. I didn't want to be seen as an artist, like somebody with like priorities and responsibility is like having a dog or a long time commitment with something, and I just felt so overwhelmed sometimes that I felt like I had to let something go in order to get to where I'm going. Because like I said, I didn't have any of the things you think a host should have. Like, and you tell me what should a host have to run a show. This is my own ego psyching me out, like, you know what I'm saying? But I'm noticing these voids in my life. It's like, how can I be a poet? How can I lead people to where they're going if I don't even have the essential things like a driver's license, health insurance, you know what I'm saying? Like my own house, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm really just trying to figure things out, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I was asking God, bro, take this gift away from me so I can live like a normal person, so I can go to a 9 to 5, so I can work on me, so I can just be able to dwell amongst people and not be known for a gift, because it can get a bit overwhelming. After I hit World Star, like people thought I was gonna make it out the city. Like it was a beautiful thing to think, and whatever. But like people really thought like, yo, people thought highly of me in a way that I didn't see in myself during those times. Yeah. So the poem I did for Trayvon Martin mom, Sabrina Fulton, it went viral within like the next day. So I'm like waking up to like people's texts and phone calls like, bro, go to World Star. Like, yo, I'm on World Star? Like, I almost called him for my job. Like, yo, I'm on World Star, yeah. But man, like I said, if that initial moment where I performed the poem didn't like turn that light on in my brain, then going viral did. Because art prize that year, I promise you every like 5 feet somebody was recognizing me. And then there's sometimes I'll go out of town and people will recognize the video too, and I'm just like, I have a familiar face. It's so weird because, like, you know, obviously the Diatribe has always been like a group, and people will always try to like tie me into it, and I'm like, no, they're really close. Like, we're brothers. I may not be into the Diatribe, but I can call any of these guys, and they got my back like I got they back. You know what I'm saying? So it's not a feud thing just because I'm running a show on this side of town and they're running a show on this side of town. Like, it's fucking weird to me at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying?
How many stages have we all shared together?
Like, all of them. All of them. Pick a venue.
You also taught in the classes with us.
Yeah, I've taught classes. I've taught classes with you guys, and we've always been doing those, you know, those necessary things, you know, especially for the youth, in order to see like spoken word truly survive the way it's meant to attend it. You know what I mean? Because 20, 30 years from now, nobody's going to know about the East Town Hookah Lounge ever. I mean, now that there's a documentary, of course. But, like, nobody's going to think about, you know, what truly happened as far as show-wise, but the legacy that we left behind as far as, like, spoken word when we've actually, like, channeled the youth to actually take it another step, because I think we're taking really huge steps now. I think that's what it's all about. You know what I'm saying? Man, how do I describe it, man? When you're just like living your life and somebody needs to tell these stories. Like, I wasn't brave enough to go out and shoot people and sell drugs or any of that, but those people have a story too. You know what I'm saying? And you know, from 49507 being the majority of it being currently gentrified, it's like I've seen this neighborhood go from like being predominantly black to like, you know, mixed population. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, is it in vain or is it not? Because in the long run, does it make the streets safer? You know what I'm saying? Does it ensure a better future for the people who want to live in this neighborhood and want to grow up? Like, absolutely. Does it create jobs for the minorities? It doesn't. You know what I'm saying? And that's where the clash continues to happen. But with, you know, obviously like groups like the Diatribe, you guys are challenging the biasness. You guys are challenging the privilege, and I think they're listening. I haven't done Dire Ives, but I've done slams. Have I done Dire? I've probably done it. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I've like all these years, like from writing since like the 4th, 5th grade, I probably have done it. The teachers probably made me do it, like, but nothing that I could truly notate. I'm aware of the competition though. It's a sweet competition. I don't like being in competition. I don't believe my art can be judged in that manner. You know what I'm saying? I won a few slams. I've lost a lot of slams. You know what I'm saying? But I don't truly like to be judged on my art. You know. Like I said, this is a spoken word community that's unlike any other, and the story needs to be told. You know, from a global aspect, man. I honestly think we need more cameras rolling around us. Had I known like we were gonna do a documentary, I would have been like documenting a lot of my shows, which I haven't. You know what I'm saying? Like, you never know how far, you know, like somebody could really take it. You know. So the documentary like this is so. I mean, it speaks for itself. You know what I'm saying? We have a lane too here, and we have a lot of responsibility as far as like making sure people are getting their verbal nutrients, man. That's I like to say, man. For real, man. You go get this work, man. When you hear some spoken word from us, you go get this work. I knew about a poet laureate before I could spell the word, man. Like as soon as I started learning about Shel Silverstein and started digging deeper into poetry and learning about other poets. Where was this poet from Michigan? He's so old. I have like tons of his books in my old house. I think his name's Henry Longfellow, something like that. You know that name? A lot of people don't know that name. That's what's crazy. I'm in awe, mostly because, like I said, without this, I have no purpose. And here I am begging God to take this away from me while I'm playing. I'm gonna just go be a regular 9 to 5 worker person coming to support the diatribe, versus like working with him. You know what I'm saying? So I'm completely in awe whenever somebody hears about me, whenever somebody wants to book me, whenever somebody wants to work with me. I'm just truly taken back by it because you don't know the impact that you have on other people until it's actually returned to you. You know what I'm saying? And I'm one of those people, man. I'm so naive. I'm so oblivious to everything. Like, I'm just coming to do my job. You know what I'm saying? It is my job to actually come and pour into you, and you inspire me too for being here. You know what I'm saying? And everything is cause I'm inspired by like such the little things. You know what I'm saying? Well, people who are up there. What do we call them? Paper shakers. We call them paper shakers, And I'm inspired by them, even though it could be their first time getting up there. At least you had a first time. I wish I can go back and get my first time over again. But I'm like I said, it's been a long time coming, man. And I forget how long I've even been doing it. You know what I'm saying? Because I started like actually performing at 18. At the age where you're supposed to get into, any type of venue to perform, man. Here I am, 31 years old, and we're still talking about spoken word. And I'm still consistent. I'm still, like, pretty credible, talented. I ain't got no worries. I ain't in a rush because I'm never in a hurry. See, I move at God's speed. I'm King Peace. I'm walking through mean streets. I'm talking to the belly of the beast unleashed with an appetite for destruction, a fetish for vendetta. As time passing, he holding grudges. The judges got poor judgment. Now this life, it ain't life. And if it is, it ain't right. Well, it's a damn shame. While we knew the truth all along, while we were fighting like dogs, the cat-head government meowing and the people loving it. They made it private to the public. Now we can't even see for ourselves. Spent generation in jail as if it was engraved in our cells. Engraved on his grave, he was talented as hell and educated. But we sure couldn't tell. So if it's one thing I know, it's two things for certain. It's too many actors and not enough people to raise the curtain. So I'm not certain he put on the show for. So far, no good. The hood ain't the hood. It's just black people in dingy wardrobe. It's cat-head rappers doing it backwards, taking dogs out of war shows, but I heard it works though. Or so I heard. Some nerve, long ago out of jungle where they stalked us by the herd. They talked to us like children. They treated us like villains, defeated us, but we're the pilgrims and our future's still grim. So these next couple lines are not to insult LeBron James because he gets a 10 out of 10 out of his knowledge of the game, and ESPN don't care about the knowledge in his brain. And 10 out of 10 young black men aspire to be the same, but their truth is lame. Our truth brought change. Their troops did cocaine. Our troops died in vain. If you don't move, I don't ever want to hear you complain, but I guess it's all for the love of personal gain. And how did the spiritualistic become materialistic? I mean, let's keep it realistic. We all fall in statistics. Even this cat-head white bear tried to dog me. He tried to make himself seem more godly. He told me, Tony, you make me want to paint my right hand black and raise it in the air like tax. And I said, never mind that. Just make sure you produce the facts. So I lied. I guess I gotta worry. Being successful in the wrong things before I get buried. Or buried. If only y'all knew what I meant. Feel the heat when I vent. Both feet to the cement. Hard like cement until they put our coffins to the cement. But so soon that we forget that this life was never meant for this type of mess. But so I hope God up and see our way through so I can go to all my people and visit every zoo and free the monkeys from the cage and free the birds too. But until then, I ain't got no worries. I ain't in a rush because I'm never in a hurry. See, I move at God's speed. I'm King Peace. I'm walking through mean streets. I'm talking to the belly of the beast unleashed for the appetite for destruction, a fetish for vendettas. Time past and healed and grudges. The judges got poor judgment. Man, you can find me on any platform, Instagram, Facebook, Poet Antonio Taylor or Antonio Taylor for Facebook. I'm currently curating a couple open mics to be determined. As of now, we're still, looking for some venues, but I'm working with some close friends of mine who are actually working on another documentary about the city within the city. So be on the lookout for that as well. And I feel like these two documentaries are kind of going to be like, well thought of. Well thought of. But you can catch me there, man, until then. Shout out to every poet that has, man, had the courage and the bravery to actually get up on a microphone and choose this as their path. Whether it's Grand Rapids, whether it's the people down there in Florida, Mississippi, any state, any city in this whole entire world. Thank you for being a spoken word artist. Thank you for being a poet because your work matters. You are the originator to this literature, man. So put yourself first and always, always, always don't second guess yourself, man. It's Tone, spoken word artist. I'm just me.